So you sat down and you told them, not the version you tell people at parties, not the cleaned up one, the real one, the whole thing, 10 minutes maybe. And the person across from you, somebody who has heard literally thousands of stories, somebody whose entire job is to stay neutral and unimpressed, stopped writing, looked up, sat there for a second longer than felt comfortable, and said one word, remarkable. That was it. They didn't say strong. They didn't say brave. They didn't reach for any of the soft, warm words people throw at you when they don't know what to do with what you just told them. They said remarkable. And here's the thing about that word coming from that mouth in that context. It doesn't mean what it means at a dinner party in a clinical room. Remarkable is a technical word. It means outside the expected range. It means the data does not match the model. It means something is happening here that the textbook didn't prepare them for. You're the something. Let me back up because I want you to feel where you actually were when this happened. You didn't walk in there expecting validation. You walked in there expecting to be diagnosed. You'd already decided somewhere on the drive over that you were probably the problem. That's what people do when they finally make that appointment. They show up convinced they're about to get the label they've been hiding from. You had the speech ready. You were going to apologize for taking up the hour. First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. You are going to downplay everything. You are going to make it easy on them because that's what you do. Even there, even sitting in a chair you paid for, even with somebody whose only job for 60 minutes was you. And then they asked you the question and something in you, some part you forgot you had said, no, not today. Today I'm telling somebody the truth. So you did. You told them what actually happened. The whole sequence, the thing before the thing, the part you usually skip, the part you didn't tell your closest friend because saying it out loud felt like making it real. You told them what it cost. You told them what you did to survive it. You told them about the nights you don't talk about. And while you were telling it, you watched their pen slow down, then stop, then settle on the page like it wasn't needed anymore. You didn't notice it at the time, but you notice it later. They weren't writing because they didn't want to miss what was happening. You think you're being analyzed. They think they're learning something. That's the gap I want you to sit in for a second, because this whole video is about that gap. For most of your life, you assumed the people in the room with you knew more about your situation than you did. The teachers, the bosses, the partners, the therapists you tried before this one, you assumed they had a framework you didn't, and that your job was to fit yourself into it. You assumed there was a normal way through what you were going through, and everybody else had the map, and you were just bad at reading it. That assumption is so old in you that you probably don't even notice it anymore. It's the water you swim in, and one word from one person snapped it. Because here's what they actually saw when you were talking. They didn't see somebody falling apart. They didn't see somebody being dramatic or stuck or playing the victim or any of the words your enemies used to keep you small. They saw the actual structure of what you'd survived. They saw the load. They did the math the way they were trained to. They ran your story through the model they've been refining for 15 years. And the model came back with something they couldn't explain. The math said you shouldn't be sitting up. The math said you shouldn't be functioning. The math definitely didn't say you should be the one comforting them, but that's another conversation. The math said this person should be a case study, and instead you walked in apologizing. Think about that for a second. Think about who you've been being. You've been walking around with the kind of internal resume that would make a researcher's jaw drop, and you've been spending it on making other people comfortable. You've been carrying something heavy enough to break most people, and you've been worried about taking up too much space in a 1-hour appointment. That's not humility. That's not modesty. That's a habit that got installed in you a long time ago by people who needed you to never count what you were actually doing. And it worked until it didn't. Until somebody in a quiet room used the wrong word for the way they trained you to see yourself. I want to talk about that word again, remarkable, because the people who hurt you had words for you too, and you've been carrying their words around for so long that you forgot a professional could look at the same set of facts and reach the opposite conclusion. They called you dramatic. They called you difficult. They called you sensitive, broken, too much, not enough. They had a whole vocabulary for keeping you small, and one person paid to be objective sat with the same information and used a completely different word. So which one is true? Don't answer that fast. Sit with it, because the answer is going to do something to you if you let it. The people who used the small words had a reason to use them. They needed you to be small so they could be the right size next to you. They needed your story to be the kind of story people don't have to take seriously, because if your story was the size it actually is, then the way they treated you becomes the kind of thing they can't go to sleep with. So they kept you small with words year after year. And one person who didn't need anything from you, who had no investment in the outcome, used a different word because they weren't lying, because they had nothing to lose by saying what they actually saw. You know which one is true. You've always known, here's what I want you to do with this. And I'm going to be honest, because the easy version of this video would just be vindication, and that's not enough for you. First, you don't have to take that word and announce it to anybody. You don't have to message the people who called you dramatic and tell them what a professional said. That urge will come. Don't act on it. The whole point is, you no longer need their team to know they were wrong. You knowing is enough. That's the win. That's the only win that actually changes your life. The other one. The one where they admitted that. One feels good for an afternoon, and then you wake up and you're still you, and they're still them. The real win is internal. Keep it. Second, and this one's harder. You don't have to live up to remarkable. The word didn't come with a job attached. It wasn't a verdict that now requires you to perform. People hear something good said about them and immediately start worrying about how to deserve it. You're not auditioning for the word. The word was a description of something that was already true before they said it. You were already remarkable when you walked in. You were already remarkable in the parking lot. You were already remarkable at the worst night of your life, the one you still can't quite talk about. The word didn't change anything. It just named what was already there. Let that sit for a minute, because there's a quiet kind of power in not needing to prove the thing somebody just said about you. There's a third thing too, and this one I almost didn't say. You're allowed to take this word with you into rooms it doesn't seem to fit in. The cubicle, the kitchen at your parents' house, the text thread with the people who still don't get it. You don't have to act on it in those rooms. You don't have to bring it up, but you can carry it. You can sit there with it, sitting in your chest like a small warm thing, and you can let it change the shape of how you take up that chair. Nobody around you has to know it's there. That's the part they can't take from you. The internal weather, the word that lives behind your ribs, now that's yours. And listen, I know what part of you is doing right now. Part of that wants to discount this. that wants to say it. Well, they only said one word. Maybe they say that to everyone. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. That voice has kept you safe for a long time by talking you out of things that were really happening. It's a habit. It's not the truth. The truth is somebody trained to be unimpressed was impressed by you, and that means something. You can let it mean something without making it your whole personality. Just receive it. Just let it land for once. Most people go their whole lives without ever hearing something true about themselves from somebody qualified to say it. You did on an ordinary afternoon in a quiet room from a stranger who had no reason to give you anything other than the truth. That happened. You were there. So now what? Now you go back into your life, and the people who use the small words are still going to use them. That part doesn't change overnight. The difference is that now there's a competing piece of evidence sitting in your chest, and every time they reach for a small word, you got something to put next to it. You don't have to argue. You don't have to wave it around. You just have to know the next time somebody who's never sat across from a real witness tries to tell you who you are, you can let them be wrong. Out loud, in private, in their head, wherever they're being wrong, let them. Their word against the word, their guess against the data. You already know which one holds. The room went quiet for a reason that day. And the quiet is still doing its work somewhere underneath everything right now.